Everyone. Okay, we're live. Good morning, everyone. We are going to have a really interesting conversation today. I will be moderating. I will not be part of the conversation, but I'll just be there to keep track of time and stuff like that. And the topic is going to be embryology in the Quran. So you're on the channel of Abdullah Samir, and I'm joined with two very kind, wonderful, important guests here. We have Nadir Ahmed, who has been on the channel once. We had a debate. You had a wonderful debate between myself and him on the topic of science in the Quran. And today, I'm joined by his Sultan of Ex-Muslim Atheist, who is going to be defending or discussing whether embryology in the Quran is correct or not correct. So Nadir, of course, is going to be presenting the view that the Quran has something special in it, and his Sultan will be giving the position that obviously it is not. So looks like we're just getting started. People are joining now. His, do you just want to introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, sure. Well, obviously, my position is that there is nothing special in the Quran about as far as the verse 23, sorry, chapter 23, verse 12 to 14
just introduce yourself, who you are first. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Like, why is this important to you? Just like give like a minute summary of.
Yeah, okay. Well, my name is Harris Sultan. I am an ex-Muslim. I think it's important that we need to discuss the topics of religions, especially because it plays such a huge part in everyone's lives. It's not an easy conversation that we have to have, but I believe we have to have this conversation. The world is changing, and it needs to keep changing for better. So yeah, that's why I'm very passionate about it. I was a closeted atheist for a very long time. I'd say probably over 10 years now. I only became active in the last year or so, especially when a lot of things happened in my own country of birth, Pakistan. Ayaz Azami got arrested for simply sharing his views. Mashal Khan got lynched by a mob. And I think I realized that was the time that the people like us who at least live in a Western country where we can be the voice of all these closeted atheists living in Muslim countries. And obviously, I'm very passionate about the plight of ex-Muslims in Pakistan. Ever since I opened the page, I thought there wouldn't be that many ex-Muslims or atheists in Pakistan, but I'm glad that I was very wrong. The number is constantly rising. There's a huge interest about that, that's probably why I became interested in the activism part.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you for that introduction. Nadir, can you please introduce yourself as well?
Oh, sure. And I'm going to be very brief because, I think we got like a 40-minute window. So basically, I'm I guess we call it a Muslim debater or whatever. But anyway, I got many debates on the internet. You could Google my name and you can listen to them. The main points which I like to debate, especially is Quran and science. And I try to challenge and bring critics of Islam for discussion and basically post them on YouTube. I have my own channel. If you and I'll share that with you, and you should subscribe so you can listen to more of the debates and discussions which I have. So I'll just make that very brief.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. All right, so here's Sultan. You just want to jump into it then? I guess you can go first.
Yeah. Well, I'll start with my position. Obviously we're discussing embryology in Quran. The claim usually is by Muslim apologists that the science has this special knowledge of embryology. I obviously refute that. There's nothing special in Quran about embryology. All the knowledge in the verses and the hadiths is nothing special. It wasn't groundbreaking. It was already known. And also the knowledge that is in the Quran and the hadith. I know we're mainly going to be talking about Quran, but we have to bring hadiths in at some point. And that has been proven to be scientifically inaccurate, not just not being enough, but actually it's inaccurate. And there are some couple of different interpretations. I'm not sure which interpretation Nadir will go with, so I'll obviously let him choose whichever one he goes with, and then we'll obviously go from there.
Okay, I guess so you guys can just have like a free-flowing conversation if that was less than 2 minutes. So Nadir, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, let me just go ahead and start my 2 minutes. So I'd like to welcome everyone for the discussion. And in fact, let me do this real quick. I'm just going to share my desktop, if I may. Just give me 1 second here. Let me figure out how to do this. My Google thing just disappeared.
On the top left, yeah, screen share.
Okay, here we go. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So I've had many debates and discussions on Quran and science, and what we are finding is debate victory after debate victory. We are seeing that not only can they not find a single scientific error in the Quran, but the Quran clearly has statements which clearly agree with modern science. And you could just Google some of these, just write this if you want to listen to see past people attempt to find scientific errors in the Quran. You can just type this into your Google or your YouTube search, and you can listen to the discussion. And of course, we've had one with Abdullah Samir. Just go ahead and type that, and you can listen to it. And what you're going to find is a consistent trend in all of this discussion. And that is nowhere are they able to find any kind of scientific error. In fact, I think Harris listened to the discussion. If he found one in any of this past debates, please do share that with me. And of course, you should go to my YouTube channel. I just started it. You can go to YouTube right over here. Just type my name, and just go ahead and type.
So I'll add a link as well, so people
okay.
can find you after on the description box. So yeah.
And I'm right there. Go ahead and subscribe, and you can listen to more debates and discussions, which I've just started with college professors, other people on the internet. In fact, I have challenged many people on Quran and science, and what I have found is most people actually back down or run away. So why is Harris having this problem with Quran and science? Here's a reason why. Let's just go to YouTube again, and let's just type Quran and science errors. And what are you going to find? You are going to find maybe hundreds of videos of people trying to debunk and dismiss our Islamic scientific claims. And for example, like this person right here, David Wood. And what you're not going to find is these people coming forward to even debate with, or not even debate with, but just to have a nice conversation with. So when you actually look, I've shared like 3 debates which I've had, which I've shown you over here. There should be hundreds. Why are there not hundreds? And that's the question I want you to ask tonight. Why are there not hundreds of discussions? And let me tell you something about myself.
Perfect. Just a reminder, we're going into the 2-minute zone.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 4 minutes intro, but
yeah, go ahead. So yeah,
okay.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Okay. So the question is, why? And this is the question I want everyone to ask themselves: why are there not hundreds of discussions on Quran and science? And one thing I'll say about myself, I'm a very easy person to have a conversation with. And I don't want to debate you. I mean, you don't have to debate me. Is what I'm saying is you could just talk to me. Really, I'm really, really good. And people tell me that, I had a really nice discussion with you. I hear that a lot. So my question to you tonight is, an easygoing, nice guy like Nadir, why can't people talk to him about Quran and science? In fact, let me do this. I will, and I got about 30 seconds here. I will, if you can find someone from this list here, and like, for example, this guy David Wood over here, if you could find someone to come and just have a conversation with me, I'll give you $1,000. Just for you bringing him up, and I'll give him $500. Okay, that's because it's not because I'm some great debater or something like that. It's because there truly is no scientific error with the Quran, and that's a miracle in and of itself, because there's so many statements which agree with modern science. So without further ado, what I'm going to ask Harris first, I'm going to challenge him. Harris, show me one statement in the Quran which disagrees with embryology, and the mic is yours.
Okay, well, thank you. I hope that you had made the offer of $1,000 before. So I could take advantage of that too, because I'm having a conversation with you. Okay, well, let's just start with the chapter 23, verse 12 to 14, which is quite clear. Let me just bring up my screen so people know what we're talking about. Okay, so this is just this information is highly classified, by the way. It's from my upcoming book, so please don't copy that. And certainly did we create man from an extract of clay. Then we placed him as a sperm drop in a firm lodging. Then we made the sperm drop into a clinging clot. And we made the clot into a lump of flesh. And we made from the lump bones, and we covered the bones with flesh. Then we developed him into another creation. So blessed is Allah, the best of creators. Now, basically, we can see that there are 4 steps in there. There are actually 5 steps. Depends how you want to put it as. Sperm, obviously, being the first part, the ejaculation, and then clinging clot once it goes inside the womb, and then flesh, and then bones, and then voila, you've got new creation. Now these are the 4, or you can divide them further if you want, flesh and then bones. These are 4 to 5 steps. Now, there are some serious problems with that. The words, the translations that have been used, let me switch my screen to my presentation that I've got.
Okay, you have
see that
to,
now?
Your time's up. Sorry, Nadir, go ahead.
I had 1:38 for him. I think he has 20 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I can keep going?
Yeah, 20 seconds.
Okay, 20 seconds. Wow, okay, well, you put me under pressure. So the main problem that we've seen is that is the meaning of alaka that is used in the modern interpretations. And the classical interpretations, if we have Ibn Abbas, Ibn Kathir, Al-Jalalain, they all call it a clinging substance or a clinging clot. Some have even gone further and called it a clinging blood clot. At the moment of conception, there is no blood clot involved in there. We can verify that with the hadith as well, which is very similar in that, volume 4, book 54, number 430. Now, the clinging substance.
That's time.
Okay, all right, let's go with that.
Okay, so yeah, let me first start off with the $1,000 channel. Yeah, good point. I probably should have. So what my point here is, and this is why you should subscribe to my channel, because this is a perpetual channel, meaning perpetual challenge, meaning it's not just going to be for today, or maybe a year from now. You might find a professor. You might find someone who would be willing to just kind of have a nice talk like me and Harris are having here on Quran and Science. Because the problem is these people are kind of running away from discussion because they cannot defend what they are saying, and they know they're wrong. They're listening to these debates, and they know that this is something they cannot refute because the evidence being presented in them is pretty overwhelming. So let me get back to Harris over here, and I'll talk more about the challengers. So Harris, I believe you're saying that the Quranic contradicts science because it said that it started out as the embryo started out of the clot and there was never any clot stage. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's at the start. Yes, that's correct.
That contradicts science, right?
Yes. Well, if you started from there, then it contradicts science.
Yeah.
So obviously, blood comes in a lot later.
Yeah. Did you watch the debate I had with Abdullah Samir?
I watched some of it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is a violation of the discussion. It can't go any further than this because in that discussion, I made it very clear that when you claim something disagrees with modern science, you must bring a statement from a scientific textbook or an authoritative source which says the embryo does not begin as a clot. This is a wacky, quacky world of the wacky, quacky science of the internet trolls on the internet. According to their version of science.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I still got my 2 minutes.
Okay.
Actually, that's it. That's my time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So are you telling us that when a zygote is formed, it is a blood clot. Are you actually saying that? Well, I just want to get your position clear in my head. Is that what you're saying?
So there's multiple layers of fallacies going on here, Harris. Okay, the first fallacy is it's the fallacy of hypocrisy. The point here is, what if and I don't want to take your 2 minutes here because I'll be very quick. What if I were to do that? Say, oh, by the way, science says this, but I bring no reference from science.
No. I'm actually not making a positive assertion here. You're making a positive assertion that you're basically saying, okay, well, maybe. I'm being charitable to you here. Mm-hmm. You're saying maybe there is a blood clot or maybe there isn't. So if I say, well, there is no blood clot, then you're saying, okay, which is fair enough. You're asking for a reference. So that's fine. People can do their own research. Now, my question to you is very specific. Are you claiming that when a zygote is formed, that is a blood clot? That the blood clot would be a best description of that? Is that what you're claiming?
Well, actually, the word alaka means three things. Clot is one of them. It means leech-like, something which is clinging, and then it means blood clot, and it means, what's the third meaning? I forgot. But anyway, so it actually has a lot more meaning. But when you're saying, am I claiming that? Yeah. No, embryologists claim that. Yeah. And this is
no.
Yeah.
No embryologists claim that. I'll give you the references as well as to what embryologists claim. Now, you've made another claim that alaka means a leech-like substance. It is not found anywhere. I've spoken to 5 native Arab speakers. It is not found even in the classical tafsirs. It does not mean a leech-like substance. It just doesn't. The classical, unless you want to throw the classical scholars out of the picture, so that's another thing. As I said, even the hadiths, the classical exegesis, they all call it a clot. Some call it a blood clot, a clinging blood clot, or some call it a clinging clot. That's it, which is in line with Galen. Well, again, we're not going to go into Galen. Maybe at the end. If we have time left at the end, we can go into that as well, which further blows your position away. But there is no Arab speaker that I've spoken to, or I've done extensive research on that. As I said, like I've written a book on that. There is no one would claim that it means like a leech, like a substance. And even if it did mean a leech, like a substance, I have slides on that. And I'll show you the pictures of websites like Islam Guide, which I think you probably use that as well. The embryo at no stage looks like a leech.
I think it's 2 minutes.
Okay, all right, let's go.
Okay, so like I said, let me start by sharing my screen here. So this is a violation of the discussion which we agreed on, because when we prove the Quran is a miracle based on the statements which is written in there, which agree with modern science, we don't do what Harris is doing here tonight. Okay, well, I think it's like the clot. No, it doesn't really mean like that. No, we don't do that. Okay, give me a break. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Okay, but let me just finish my 2 minutes here. Yep. In fact, I think 2 minutes, 1 minute 30 seconds. Okay, so let me hide this little window over here. Okay, so we bring the statement from modern science, which agrees with modern science, and it is from an authoritative reference, and then we show the Quran verse which agrees with it. That's the standard, not our understanding. And no embryologist, nobody has ever said that this is a scientific error because it resembles, because the word clot is used. So if you don't have a reference from science, from a scientific, I still got a minute here, Harris.
Well, I thought we could actually have a discussion in between. I thought that
let me finish my 2 minutes and then we can do that. You've asked, so what I'm going to do, even though I shouldn't be doing it, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to show you from embryologists themselves that they say, the clot is actually a pretty good description for the embryo. This is a statement of Dr. Keith Moore, and let me go ahead and show you another one.
We're aware of that. The Keith Moore.
Yeah, give him 30 seconds more. He's almost done. It's time.
Okay, Quran and and so here we go from the prestigious. Is this a .gov? Can you see that? .gov. Okay, so this is one of the most prestigious scientific, references you can come up with. I don't think it gets any better than that. And they have actually looked at the Quran and scientific claims, and the review committee over there said, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. And when it says, in fact, they actually, I'm going to see if I can find it here, where they actually said that the embryo does in fact resemble a clot, because they said there's a period in the embryonic development where you got a little bit of blood in there, but it's not circulating. And they said a clot is a very, very good description of the embryo. So when Harris says that, oh, that's my 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to jump in for a second. I'm not sure why you keep saying this is a breaking of the rules of the debate. I don't recall any sort of agreement that Harris is breaking. He's just presenting his position. You're presenting your position. What do you mean by breaking the rules?
I think he's talking. That was a discussion he was having with you, that you have to have a scientific reference in order to, if any scientific claim you make. Which is fine. I mean, I can give the references and I can welcome people to to look that up. That's fine.
I don't want it to sound like you're breaking any of the rules we agreed upon, because I'm not aware of any rule that.
This wasn't a specific rule written in our conversations. So yeah, that's probably not the best description to say that.
So you can go. Yes, yeah.
Now, your which website is this? .gov? What country? What government website that is, Nadir?
It's a U.S. National Library of Medical. It's a collection of articles they have, and this article is created by Journal of Islamic Medical Association of North America, and the hosting that I don't know if it's peer reviewed or not.
So it's obvious. So yeah. So if it's not peer reviewed or it's just an article that's been published there, I'm sorry, it doesn't worth much. So and Keith Moore, using him as your defense, unfortunately, that's never going to be accepted by anyone.
I'm sorry.
I'll finish that. Let me finish
because I dropped out.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me finish with the Keith Moore. Well, okay, the website that you referred, if it's just an article, it's not peer-reviewed, it's a thing of no interest. But the Keith Moore one that you keep, Muslim apologists keep bringing it up, Keith Moore has never confirmed that or reasserted his position ever since he did that press conference and after he wrote the book. He's been asked numerous times. He's never confirmed his position. Now, we don't know whether he was paid to say that or whether he still holds that view or not, but he's never confirmed that. So again, Keith Moore has been refuted and challenged quite a few times ever since then. It hasn't worked. Now, the clinging blood clot. Now, my question to you very specifically is, are you going with a clinging blood clot? Because if that is the moment of conception that you're talking about, then that is absolutely false. No embryologist would agree with you. Yes, you can be vague about it, and you can say, well, maybe at the 24th day, the blood starts showing up and it's not circulating or whatever. Quran is not vague on that. Is vague on that. But if it depends which interpretation you're taking. If you're taking the interpretation that alaka means a leech-like substance, now that's my question. Do you take that interpretation that it means leech?
Okay, so let me go ahead and begin my time here. So let me first address some of the things you said. You seem to, in fact, I want to share my desktop over here real quick. So did you say that you thought Keith Moore somehow got paid off by the Saudis or something like that? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say Saudis, but yeah, it looks
he got paid off.
Yeah, it looks very likely.
Yeah. So can you guys see my desktop?
Yeah.
They're paying off a lot of people here. These are the embryologists. In fact, if you could see my screen here,
that's three.
These are the. If you look at the people who have actually talked about the Quran and embryology, it's a lot more than Keith Moore. Okay.
Well, there's three of them.
Yeah, How many embryologists? Okay, hold on. Harris, let me finish my 2 minutes real quick. Okay, so these are the people who I guess the Muslims have paid off, okay? And I've got my links here, which you can listen to their video, Dr. Marshall Johnson. You can click on, so all my references. Notice the standard here. I'm not holding a double standard against Harris. When I claim something, I bring references from authoritative references and I present them, okay? There is no embryologist who's so silly as to say things like, oh, that's a scientific error because there's no leech.
Did these people convert to Islam?
He still has 30 seconds.
Let me just finish my point here. Okay, so this is my reference, and then you passed off this .gov as, what did you call? Let me just see if you said it was thing of no interest. Well, I can't put that interest in you. Okay, for the review committee to look at that, and we have all these embryologists who you can click on that, and they all talked about Quran and embryology, and you know what they said in their references? Clot and leech-like substance is pretty good description, and that's what got them interested in this field.
Right. Okay, time's up.
Yep.
Now, okay. First of all, I mean, it's amazing if they've discovered something really groundbreaking in Quran, then none of them have converted to Islam. Secondly, leech-like substance it doesn't even mean a leech-like substance, and it doesn't even look like a leech-like substance. It doesn't. So if you've got 3 embryologists, or you can show 5 embryologists, or you can show 10 embryologists, it doesn't make any difference if it doesn't look like it. Now let me share my screen with you. This is what a leech-like substance these Islamic websites show. Now, can you see my screen?
No, let me go there.
Yeah, no, I
All
can.
right. Okay. So now these are 2 common. I think this is the Islamic Guide website that I think you're a big fan of that too, Nadir.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've straightened the embryo, they've removed the heart, and they've put a leech next to it. Now they're showing a side-on image of that. Now this is blatant deception and making it look like a leech. Now this is claimed to be a 23-day or 24-day embryo, and same on the right side as well. And the leech obviously is being shown from the top. The embryo is being shown from the side. Now, this is what an embryo looks like, the 23-day, 24-day. The better description would have been, it looks like a kidney, or it looks like a bean. That would have been a better description. You can see there's a heart there that's been removed. It's been straightened just to make it look like a leech. These are the modern interpretations. Now, I don't know these scientists embryologists that you refer to, whether they have any understanding of Arabic language or not, or whether they were shown these pictures as well. I don't know. But none of them converted to Islam. I don't know. That's not a lot of people. If you say that they've been paid off, yeah, it's not too bad to pay off three or 4 people, especially when all this money was thrown in, and like Maurice Bocale as well. Now, the other part is the 28-day embryo. When you want to show it look like a chewed substance, the magda, then the embryo goes back to its original shape, like a kidney again. Why it hasn't been straightened now? Why is it being shown as if it's like a chewed substance? And obviously it's a pretty poor effort. They put a bubble gum next to it and shown the teeth mark, which is resembling the backbone of the embryo. Again, the backbone of a 28-day embryo is not visible because there's skin over it, and it looks nothing like it. I mean, if Allah wants to convey the message to us, or if he really wants to tell us that this looks like a embryo, or he's trying to give us some inside information that no one else knows, then he would tell us what it looks like with a naked eye. Now, this is not not how an embryo looks like a naked eye.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much for that. Okay, we can get into alaka, we can get into mutga, but I started out this discussion with asking you, Harris, for one statement in the Quran which contradicts modern science in terms of embryology. You were not able to produce it.
No.
This is my 2 minutes. Right, Harris.
Yeah, just let him finish.
So here's what we are left with, okay? You quoted Islam Guide. If you look at Islam Guide, they have references. I've produced my references for you tonight, okay? I did that for a reason, because you just can't say, oh, science says this, and you just can't come up and make things up in your mind. So here's what we come up with. In the wacky, quacky world of the internet trolls who try to refute Islam, like if you just type Quran and science error, in their version of science, the embryo doesn't ever look like a clot or is any way like a clot. Their wacky, quacky world, yes. And they've produced all these articles on it, and that's what you're following. But when we go to the embryologists, and I've shown you how many, like 3 or 4, not only that, but I've also shown you .gov, the article. They looked at the Quran and embryology claims, and they said, you know what? leech-like substance, mudga, clot. This is like really makes a lot of sense. And based on their expertise, and these are experts in the field, they thought that's very accurate. And then that is actually what led them to produce the publications on Quran and embryology. So we have to understand something here. These are not my arguments here. Okay, this is their argument. But bringing it back to the issue which I asked first, and we can talk about alaq and mudga later. Harris, you did not come tonight with a reference from modern science, just like you saw Islam guide us. Here's what science says, and here's where the Quran contradicts it. That you do not have. And I think we can just conclude this point and move on to the next point.
Okay, well, no, we can't conclude on to that point now, because the actual error where the problem is with Quran is where it says flesh and then bones. Now, that is the clear understanding of all the scholars, of all the, and if you have a look at the verse that I read earlier as well. Can you see my screen or not? Let me show my screen again. Now, I spoke to Alistair Wilson. He's a professor of evolutionary biology at the University of Exeter. Now, the question was posed that does flesh comes before bone or vice versa? And he said no. It comes simultaneously. Now, Quran specifically, this verse says that that flesh comes first, and then bones come first, and then flesh. Sorry, the other way around: flesh and then bones. Now that's what Quran claims. Now this is a direct contradiction. If you want to talk about the exact about the contradiction with modern science, now again, there are pages written about it. I mean, it's a known thing. I mean, I welcome my people to go to your doctor, and if you are pregnant, or your wife is pregnant, or your partner is pregnant, you can actually do your normal doctor who does a ultrasound will tell you the flesh and bones form simultaneously. Now, this is a known knowledge. Now, no one, the embryologists are not out there to disprove Quran. They don't know what's in the Quran. So that's why there is not going to be direct statement from embryologists about it. Now, this scientist that I named, the Alistair Wilson, he also didn't want to comment on whether Quran says that or not. He just said, well, that's not the case. Flesh and bones form simultaneously. Now, that is in direct violation with the modern understanding of the science.
Okay, my turn?
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Can I just say one thing? Sorry, small mistake. It's actually, the Quran actually says bones and then flesh, not the other way around. So the Quran gives kind of what you would think is a kind of obvious way that it would think obviously bones and then flesh.
That's fine. I think people got my point. I mean, they form simultaneously. One doesn't come before the other.
Yeah. Okay, Nadir, it's your time now. Starting now.
Okay. Can you see my screen? Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, we could see.
Gone now. It was there.
Okay. Let me go ahead.
Now I can.
Okay. Harris, let's see what we can agree with. I asked you to produce a reference from modern science, from a scientific textbook or something about the blood clot. Did you do that tonight?
Well, yes. I wasn't refusing the blood clot point.
No, did you bring a reference, Harris?
I am not complaining about that one.
That's a yes or no question. Did you bring a reference from modern science?
No. It's not a yes or no question, because that's not what I'm claiming. So why are you imposing a question on me which I haven't even taken a position on? Harris, I have taken a position on where the verse is wrong.
Wait, hold on. Listen, Harris, since this is my time to speak, you just got to answer really quick yes or no question. I'm sorry to cut you off. Harris,
it's not a yes or no question. I'm not gonna fall. I'm not gonna fall in your trap.
I'm just telling you how I. Okay, this is maybe what my expectation was. This is how we as Muslims we discuss this. Okay, when we show Quran agrees with modern science and we show the miracles, we bring a reference from modern science. Okay, and I'm sorry, from modern science, and then we show how the Quran agrees with that. Harris, did you do that tonight with blood clot? Did you do that? Yes or no?
I never said about the blood clot.
Okay, so the Quran, there's no scientific error about the blood clot. Is that correct?
If we go by the blood clot, then you can say which position you're talking about, whether that's a 24-day or whatever. Fine, I'm okay with that.
You're not understanding me.
I'm okay with that.
Harris, you are not understanding me. Okay,
I am understanding you.
Okay, let's try this muscle thing. You're saying that the muscle and bone form simultaneously, therefore the Quran is in contradiction with modern science. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Did you come tonight to bring a reference showing me, like I'm showing to you tonight, from science?
Yes.
Can you show it to me?
Yeah, I just quoted you, Dr. Alistair Wilson.
No. You said, well, I had this discussion with this guy. No, you need to give me the link. Do you have a link I can read that?
He's a professor. Okay, let me Google that while you. Okay, go.
No. This is a debate. We're not having. You can't Google right now. Okay.
No. I am going to quote. Okay. I'm going to show you his quote.
Let me finish with what I'm showing you on my screen, because
I'm going to show you. No. You can't be like this. I am quoting you, an evolutionary biologist. He's not a Harris Sultan's friend. I've never met him. I've never seen him. I am quoting him, and I'm happy to show you.
Harris, this is let me. I think you're talking over me in my 2 minutes, so I only got a few seconds here. Okay, here's an example. What I need from you is a statement that muscles. I'm sorry, that's my time's up. Go ahead, please.
No. You can take the extra 30 seconds if you want.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so here's what I'm trying to show you. Your statement was, again, it said like first. I'm sorry. What was it again? You said. Let's go back to the verse real quick over here. It said, then it said we made bones, then we covered the bones with flesh. So what I'm looking for from you, Harris, is a statement from modern science which says that bones are never covered with flesh. So it said it said the bones come, and then we covered the bones with flesh. That never happens in the embryonic development. If you could show me that, then I would definitely.
That's a very dishonest way of putting things.
Well, see, when you claim a statement of modern science, you got to produce a reference from science.
I can turn it the other way around as well. I can say, well, show me a scientific understanding that says bones and flesh form simultaneously. That would be suffice in making my point. And now I can show you that.
Let me fulfill your request.
Hold on. So your time is up. Just give his Sultan 2 minutes.
Sure.
Maybe he'll jump back to you.
Okay. So you're basically, again, you're twisting the words, and you're saying, well, a scientist has to say specifically that under no circumstances flesh comes after bone. But no one's going to write that. The bones and flesh form simultaneously. Now, anything else that you claim that happens around it is null and void. It doesn't matter anymore. Now, it's the known understanding that bones and flesh form simultaneously. No scientist is going to go out of his way and he's going to say, no, you know what? As per Quran, it's not like that, and hence bones come after flesh, or vice versa, however you want to go.
You got 1 more minute if you just want to finish your time.
No, that's fine. I've made my point.
Okay. You are, I guess, agreeing that no scientist will agree with what you're saying. Okay, and because it's such common sense that bones and muscle form simultaneously. So the question which we ask, and you say it's an unfair or dishonest question, but you never really stated how. I mean, why so dishonest? So let's see what the verse says over here. Hold on. Harris, this is my 2 minutes. Harris, please.
No. I'll let you get in that too. So just let's make the conversation flow a little.
Okay, I haven't even finished my point. Let me just finish my point.
You have finished the point by asserting your position on me, which I've never agreed. I'm saying if bones and flesh form simultaneously, then there is no need to say that bones never come before flesh. So there's no need to say that.
I'm going to show you the
bones and flesh come simultaneously.
Let me show you the need for it. Okay, let's show the need for it. Okay. So it says here, now look at how I'm presenting references. Reference right over here. That's what I'm looking for. That's what you need.
Go for it.
Okay. The skeleton of the fetus begin bone development about 13 weeks following conception. The bones gradually become harder and muscle tissue begins to develop. Let's go back to the Quranic verse. We see over here, it says here, we made the clot into lump of flesh, and we made from the lump bones, and we covered the bones with flesh. Compare that with that, and we got an identical match.
Well, no. Okay. Well, that actually contradicts that. Because hang on, go back to the Quranic verse. What does that say?
You have 10 seconds more if you want to finish.
Yeah, so let me finish my point. So my point here is, I think the most important point here, you see, embryology is a very complex and difficult subject, Harris, and so that's why you really need to provide references from science to substantiate what you're saying.
I'm gonna use your.
I'm giving you 2 examples.
I'm gonna use your reference against you now. I mean, thanks for showing that reference.
So that's time. Harris, your time starts. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
May I suggest you show your slides again with the quote? That's my.
No. Okay, well, give me a moment. I might need Nadir's slide there, because I think that's.
Well, can you see my desktop? You can go and do that. Let's see.
Okay. All right. So you're saying the bones gradually become harder, and then muscle forms. So if you want to use muscle as flesh, sure, go ahead. So basically your reference is saying that bones come and then muscles come. So bones and then flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Quranic verse here says, we placed him as a sperm drop in a firm lodging. Then we made the sperm drop into a clinging clot. And we made the clot into a lump of flesh. And from the lumps comes bones. So Quran is saying the other way around.
What? I don't understand you.
No, but it's saying from the sperm drop, from clinging clot, sperm drop, we made the clot into a lump of flesh.
Mm-hmm.
But your reference is saying bones become stronger and then come muscle tissue.
Abdullah, what do you understand from that?
Isn't that the other way around?
Hold on, I have a question for Abdullah. What did you understand from that, from what Harris said?
Okay, yeah, let me share my screen.
Just from what he said, what do you understand?
I'm saying Quranic
it sounds like what he's saying is, I just want to review the verse. I don't know.
We made the clot.
Oh, hold on, Abdullah. What did you understand from Harris?
I'm reading it to him so it can be easy.
Talk to Abdullah. What did you understand from that?
Hold on. I'm okay. I think I'd rather just let his.
No. What did Harris say?
No. That's fine. It's okay.
Hold on a second. Wait a second. I'm talking to Abdullah. Abdullah, did you understand him?
I don't know. I'm kind of keeping track of the time. Not really.
Okay. Well,
lost,
if we didn't understand you, I didn't understand you either.
Well, I can say it again.
Yeah.
Your reference is saying bones and then muscle, right? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it says bones, and then we closed it with flesh. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but can you read the Quranic verse to me now?
Okay, then we made sperm drop into a clinging clot, and we made the clot into a lump of flesh, and we made from the lump bones.
Yeah. So what's coming? No, that's it. Yeah, just stop there. So what's coming first here? From the clot we made flesh.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's saying the flesh came first and then came bones.
Okay.
The reference you're quoting is saying the other way around, and I know that the reference you're quoting is actually not wrong, because it's talking about muscle. It's not talking about flesh. The flesh that has been how it has been understood.
Okay. I think I sort of understand you. So let me. Can I go and respond to you?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is a third scientific error charge. I'll address it, but I think what you were saying.
No, that's the only scientific error charge.
Bones and muscle form simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And it does happen. I think, and I don't understand embryology very good, where that actually did happen at a specific phase of primordia for it did. But anyways, what I'm showing you here is that inside the embryo, there is actually phases where first the bones come and then muscle tissue begins to develop. So
that's against your verse.
No,
your verse is flesh and then bones.
Okay, but remember you're talking about them both forming simultaneously?
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that as well, but let's just
talk about the simultaneously stuff.
No. Okay, well, we can talk about it. I've already given my point. I've quoted a scientist. I welcome everyone to do their own research, find any doctor they want to find out.
Okay.
The muscle you're talking about is not equivalent to flesh. Flesh and muscle, the skin can be classified as flesh as well. Now let me show you my presentation of the whole embryo, how embryo looks like. Now, can you see my screen? Hang on, let me try that. I think it's.
Oh, we could see your screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now I don't know how to zoom that in.
It's fine. It's big enough. It's clear enough.
Is it clear enough?
Okay.
But these are different stages. Now, muscle and bone is forming simultaneously inside. And now, sorry, not muscle, flesh. Flesh and bones are forming simultaneously. Now, what Nadir is quoting, he's quoting muscle tissue. Now, that's obviously separate to that. I mean, the skin cannot be classified as muscle tissue. Now, you're talking about muscle tissue. Okay, let's go by your interpretation that Quran meant muscle. Well, if Quran meant muscle, then your Quranic verse is opposite to what you're showing.
Huh? What?
Yeah, you just showed the reference.
Okay.
You showed the reference that said bones become stronger and then comes muscle. Quran is saying the other way around.
Okay, so Nadir, you can take your 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think, Harris, this is because I think we got to wrap it up with, I think it's almost 40 minutes. Here's where I think is I think there was a expectation from you on my part. In fact, let me go back to and share my screen over here.
Yep.
I really wanted to see, like how I posted links, and I wanted something from you which shows that I think you said that bones and muscles form simultaneously throughout the whole embryonic phase, and then therefore that would make the Quran in error. And I guess what my expectation from you, and again, this could be unfair, whatever, but Harris, I wanted you to produce a reference like that. Did you do that tonight? Can you answer that a yes or no?
Well, I quoted a scientist, but again,
you
made my job easier. No. You actually made my job easier. You actually showed your own reference, which is in direct contradiction with the Quranic verse. I mean, I can't believe like how easy it could have been for me. Okay,
so but let's just talk about this muscle coming, bone coming. I'm sorry, muscles coming after bone thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I really, you mentioned your reference was you talked to somebody about this. But yeah. Harris, what I wanted from you is to bring an authoritative reference from a .gov, from a something which we can look, and that's why we're sharing our screen, so we can look at the links and we can examine the references for ourselves. Yeah. I mean, what you did bring is that you talked to somebody about this, right?
Okay. Well, again, yeah, that's fine. We could go into that, and I'm happy to get that from the whole 200-page thesis on embryology.
No,
hang on. I'm happy to get that, and I'll post that in the description of the video, because as I said, like, this is not even a topic of discussion with the embryologist to even talk about this. It's a known thing. A basic embryologist or even a doctor, your GP, would know that bones and the bones and flesh form simultaneously. So that's not even a discussion. But okay, fine, if you want that. But I am still actually enjoying the like, to break your victory after victory record. Like, you've shown your own reference that is against your Quranic verse.
Well, is it my time here?
Yeah.
Well, here's a problem with that. I cannot agree or disagree with you, Harris, because I have no idea what you're talking about. And I'm trying to think of how to respond to you, but I can't respond to you if I'm not understanding you. So maybe might be a communication issue between me and you, but here's the way I operate. And here's what I think, because when you go to the Islamic references, and we, like Islam Guide, we're always producing a reference from science. And then we show the Quran agreeing with that. And we want to make sure that you guys are also, we have the same standard for us and same standard for you, okay? Now, maybe next time, you've seen what my expectations are and what I'm looking for and what Muslims are looking for. You could bring those references. And so now let me finish with I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen real quick? Can you guys see my screen?
No, we can see you.
No, we can't see your screen.
Okay.
Nadir, I really want to make sure that you do understand what I'm saying and what you've done here.
What?
With the reference that you've shown. And I can ask you very simply, very simple question. The verse that we've looked at, it says flesh and then bones, right? Do we agree on that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what is this reference you're showing me here? That says bones and then muscle. That is in direct contradiction of what you're saying. I know that why it is in contradiction.
Okay, well, here, let's put the two together, and maybe I am missing something here.
Yeah.
In fact,
maybe.
So let's go to the verse real quick here.
Right.
And it could be my misunderstanding. Definitely. Why not? Okay. So the words here say, and we covered the bones. In fact, let's see if we can read it in Arabic.
We have to go by English. Come on.
Oh, no. But here's the thing. The cool thing about this website is that you can literally hover over it and it'll give you the English meaning.
I'm well aware of that, but
yeah,
okay, sure. Let's do that.
Then we close the bones with flesh. Now the word there is basically some kind of flesh, and I guess muscle can constitute with flesh. So it says that we close the bones with flesh. And if we look at the reference which I presented to you,
no, Nadir, come on. But before that as well, it's from clinging clot into a lump of flesh. Why don't you read that part?
Okay, so what you're saying, this contradicts because ثُمَّ خَلَقْنَا نُطْفَةً عَلَقَةً, and then خَلَقْنَا, this is alaqatu. You're saying, in fact, you're saying that the part which contradicts is that we made the clot into a lump and then the bones came. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, I think I gotcha. Okay, so my question for you tonight is, and maybe you could do this next time, can you produce from us a reference from an embryology textbook which says that flesh never comes before bones?
No, hang on. But this is where, I mean, I really don't understand why you word it like that.
Flesh never comes before bones.
I'll tell you. No, it's not going to say that. I mean, would you find a textbook that would tell you that that Earth spins anti-clockwise instead of clockwise? No. I mean, if it spins clockwise, it's going to say clockwise. That's it. Then it means the other option is null and void. So let me finish my point. So if it says the bones and flesh form simultaneously, then that's it. Anything else that you say doesn't matter anymore.
Okay. So the Quran contradicts science according to you because it said flesh came before bones, is what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's do this.
Your own reference says it. And your own reference is actually saying that.
Well, let's do this. Because like when you go and can you guys see my desktop over here?
Yeah. Oh no, we can see your Google tab.
Okay. Can you see my desktop now?
No, we were seeing
your document. Yeah.
Okay. Can you see my desktop?
No. Yes. You can see it. Yeah.
Okay. So when we do Quran and embryology error. Okay. So you got all these articles trying to refute it, but you know what, Harris, you have made history tonight in the fact that you are the first person who's ever made the claim.
No, I'm not.
That this is a contradiction with science because flesh doesn't come before bone. It's a very known issue. This is why it's a lot. You're making a statement. I have to respond. I mean, no, it's a very known issue. But please,
flesh and bones form simultaneously. You go ahead.
Okay, so you're saying that flesh doesn't come before bone. Okay. And I understand what you're saying is that some things are such common sense that I don't need to bring a reference for it. And that's why you don't have one tonight. And that's what you're saying, right?
Well, again, I mean, there's no need for any reference to what you're saying. I mean, your own reference is contradicting your own verse.
That brings our discussion to an end. Now, here's what we can agree on, Harris.
Yeah.
You've got some reasons, good reasons, we'll just say, why you did not bring any scientific reference. But my expectation tonight was that you are supposed to bring a reference from science to say things like flesh does not come before bones. Because now what you're doing, you're giving your own interpretation of science. This is the wacky, quacky world of the internet trolls and their version of science. Okay? but I need to hear from an embryologist so I can be convinced, or from an expert who can say the things and confirm and corroborate. And I understand you had discussions with people. I understand that. I respect that, Harris. But I need a reference for from science, okay? Now, here's a final challenge.
Dr. Alistair Wilson's quote or specific answer on that is not good enough for you, right?
I've never met him. You need to bring a reference. Bring him, please.
Yeah, okay, well, I can give it to you.
It's like me saying Dr. Zakir Naik said this. Who is he?
No. It would mean something if he said it. We can argue about it, whether that's a commonly held view or it's not.
So let's do this.
Rejected by the scientists or not.
Okay, let's wrap up with this final point. I have brought for you 3 different embryologists with link references.
One of them contradicted your own science.
Embryologist, the challenge. Do you have any embryologist who has said that the Quran and science statements in the Quran, they contradict science? The Quran
going to say no, they're never going to say that. They would never say that. They don't get in trouble.
How do you explain all the people agree?
That's how I explain. That's how I explain that it's a commonly held view that bones and flesh form simultaneously. No one's going to say, well, bones and flesh form simultaneously, therefore Quran is correct. No one is going to say that. That there's no need for that. Scientists don't get involved in that. What they do, they give you the facts of what they discover and what they observe. And again, let me finish that by telling the audience, look it up yourself, find out what the embryologists have to say about flesh and then bones, or vice versa. Look it up, what comes first, or whether they form simultaneously. You would not find anyone apart from the 3 embryologists that Nadir has quoted. And the those are just articles. Then if they're not peer reviewed, I mean, I can put.
They are peer reviewed. That's how they made it up there.
Okay. We'll verify that. We'll verify that. But the vague descriptions of leech-like substance, or it's a chewed substance, etc., using the vague descriptive words for it when there are better words available, like it looks more like a kidney than a leech. Instead of using that, if you get some white scientist who has no idea of Arabic, or he's like, okay, well, all right, that's fair enough, that sounds like it. So he says that, and then you catch on the words. Keith Moore never reaffirmed his position. Never. He did that in the 70s. That was it. People have challenged him, asked him over and over again. He has never commented on that. He just doesn't comment on that. None of the people that you have mentioned have converted to Islam. That says a lot about their findings about it. Now,
okay, that's a different subject.
The common understanding.
It's 2 minutes right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's conclude on this. I didn't address the point about Dr. Keith Moore converting to Islam, which actually, if you Google that, there are references of him accepting Islam. But he didn't. Can I finish my point here, please? Okay.
Yeah, you're making a false
point.
What
we have tonight, in conclusion, is this. I have asked the challenge tonight. I brought to you Dr. Keith Moore, Dr. Marshall Johnson, TVN Prasad. These are experts in the field of embryology who have
been debunked.
Oh, guys, let me finish, please. Okay, who have wrote articles, and not only that, but from the most prestigious, peer-reviewed, publication you're ever going to find is that .gov, which I gave you. I've brought to you reference after reference after reference, and what we know tonight, not a single embryologist is so foolish as to agree with this Quran and the Quranic errors with embryology stuff. None of them, not a single embryologist will ever take the position of Harris or any of these kooks and quacks on the internet who try to refute our scientific claims.
Okay.
So this is a great miracle why the Islam is a miracle. Look how Islam deceived Dr. Keith Moore, Dr. Marshall Johnson, TVN Prasad, Torcha MG, and how Islam deceived NIH.gov. And there's more reference to that. This makes the Quran a miracle because that's a miraculous feat. And this debate is over. Thank you so much.
You can keep arguing about Nadir. Let me finish that on a good.
Okay, you have the last word, and we can finish that now because it's getting too long.
Okay. Well, okay. Let me finish that. So you've been hell bent on asking for the reference, and I've found that. I'm happy to share that with you, and I'm sharing that. Can anyone see my screen? Application window. Okay, well, this is it. So let's have a look at that. Okay, well, this is Alistair Wilson's quote. He's answered that, and he hasn't commented on Quran or its interpretation, but he said muscle, bone, and cartilage are all derived from the mesoderm, one of the 3 germ cell layers in bilaterian animals, most animals, but not sponges, jellyfish. It's really the case. The cells into the mesoderm begin to differentiate to form the various different tissue types. So I would characterize the development of muscle and bones as a simultaneous process, not sequential one.
Okay, this is like a
university?
Kind of blog or something, or what are you quoting there?
He is a professor of evolutionary biology.
Okay. We've talked a lot about that. I think we don't want to go back.
I've given you the reference, so there you go. It's up to you whether you want to deny that or not.
That was a message board, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But like I said, we also addressed that I guess let's do this. Let's just finish up with what we're talking about. Oh, I think is my screen.
I think something's going wrong with the screen.
Hold on a second. Is that my screen or your screen? Okay, so let's do this. Go to my channel. I have a challenge, for these guys to come forward and to debate me or just have a nice conversation with me about the scientific errors in the Quran or whatever it be. Is the Quran American?
They're not.
Guys, I'm just giving a plug for my channel here real quick. Okay. You can Google my name, and this is a challenge which I will offer you. Just email some of these people, go to their websites and invite them to have a discussion, and you can get paid. That is because, like I said, I've researched these claims and I've presented my references, and one of the, I think, amazing things about the Quran is you will never find it contradict with a statement of science from an authoritative reference. Harris brought his understanding. It definitely contradicts Harris's understanding. Oh yeah, absolutely. That we can agree tonight. Okay. It also contradicts the internet trolls' version of their science. It contradicts that, absolutely. But established scientists, none. You will not find one embryologist who will ever take the side of Harris, ever. So let's just conclude on that. And
I've already shown Dr. Alistair Wilson taking my side, and also the reference that you shared is contradicting your own version. I mean, it's your reference. But anyway, that's the last one.
What's the next debate? Now, I haven't proved the Quran is even a miracle yet. Obviously, we got bogged down on the Quran, and
you've shown the inaccuracy, scientific error in that yourself.
We've done that discussion, Harris.
Yeah,
Harris wins the debate. Allahu Akbar. So now let's talk about, is the Quran a miracle?
So Nadir did his concluding remarks. His Sultan, just want to do your concluding remarks. 2 minutes.
We've already done the concluding remarks. I think.
Well, it sounds like his keeps going back to the same points.
Yeah.
So instead of
okay, sure, we can sum it up.
Specific points. His just go into your summary of why you just conclude it in 2 minutes. And
I'll only need a minute. So Nadir has made claims that haven't brought any scientific reference. Fair enough. I didn't give you a link of the actual study, and I couldn't read your study either. So we have to verify that later. But again, what we can do is we can refer to the studies. I've named a known biologist. Anyway, that's up to people whether they want to take his version or not. So there is a view. Now, what's been more interesting in this debate has been the fact that Nadir's own reference is actually contradicting the Quranic verse of the bones forming first and then coming muscle, if you want to interpret it as flesh, whereas Quran is the other way around, flesh and then bones. So I'm really lost for words. But as far as we're concerned, the point of the debate was to show if there is any scientific inaccuracy in Quran or the error in Quran. I guess I'll leave that to the people to decide.
Okay, sounds good. Just to end, thank you guys. I just want to.
Did I get 2 minutes, Harris? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I guess that was the conclusions. I don't know if we want to keep going on back and forth now. Do you? I just want to share my my blog. This is my blog, abdullahsamir.com. If you want to check it out, I didn't get to present my position. But my position is there on the blog. If anyone wants to see it, just take a look and you can see my position as to why I believe the Quran is not miraculous when it comes to embryology. For me, this was a big point why I started to see through Islam, I mean, the Quran being a divine document. So I do have my position, but I don't want to get into the details now because it wouldn't be fair. But feel free to check it out. Just
are you challenging me, Abdullah? Because I accept that challenge. You want to debate me on that?
No, I think I
What?
would. We can discuss offline whether we
No,
want to
no,
have
no,
another,
no, no. Listen, Abdullah.
conversation.
Abdullah, we are here. Are you challenging me?
No,
Nadir.
I'm not challenging you.
Okay.
I think we had a good conversation here. My position is available online for whoever wants to see it. I do have a slightly different spin on how I would argue this claim. But I think you guys did a great conversation.
Well, are we going to do a debate on is the Quran a miracle?
I do kind of wish that a few other points would have been brought up about, I would have liked to hear about Galen. I would have liked to hear about how, others like Aristotle and others that brought up some other seemingly miraculous claims as well, but they're not prophets. So I was kind of disappointed you guys didn't cover that. And, the similarities between the Quran and Galenic, 7th century Galenic Greek medicine, that wasn't covered as well. And I don't think it's really, it's very productive to go too much into the meanings of Arabic words for our level of discussion, just because none of us speak Arabic per se.
Right.
And, the ancient kind of meanings of Arabic, it becomes a very technical topic, and it's very difficult. It would be very difficult to cover that. So to me, but it was a great conversation. I want to thank you both. And we'll see about having other debates. We'll see in the future. We can discuss offline whether we want to have a second debate or third debate.
Abdullah, one question. Could you, you were actually supposed to debate me tonight, but you backed out. Could you explain to them why you wouldn't debate me?
Yeah, I felt that it wasn't, our first conversation was okay. And, as you said, that it went well. And, you agreed after the fact that I was actually right about the whole, issue with the skies. We got hung up on that one issue with the Quranic skies. And, you wanted to have a second debate. I felt that it wasn't really worth the time to have a second debate because it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't that interesting. And a lot of people were saying, why are you debating Nadir? He doesn't represent us necessarily. He's not that good in debating. Whatever, like people had their own positions, right? And I did what I wanted. I had my first debate. It was great. I wouldn't mind debating other people now because we kind of know our respective positions. And for the embryology and the Quran debate, I also felt like this topic is something that's dead in my position, from my perspective, because even Muslim da'is, and that wasn't brought up in the debate, but you have Hamza Soitis, you have many people now that are actually going and saying that the Quran doesn't talk about miraculous science anymore. And so I just feel like this horse has been beaten to death. We need to move on to more better points. And that's my position. The Quran is not saying anything about science. It's just it's just Muhammad saying what he thought how the embryology was at the time. It's nothing miraculous. It was never meant to be something amazing, right?
Let's wrap this up because the video is getting really long.
Nadir, very quick question. Just very quick question. I take responsibility for not actually giving you the real scientific paper. But if I actually show you a scientific paper that says bones and flesh form simultaneously, would you then acknowledge that this verse is scientifically incorrect?
Okay, so that's good. At least we're agreeing. You probably, Harris, maybe you were misinformed or something, but you were supposed to bring a reference from science to substantiate what you're saying.
I'll email it to you.
Yeah, so to answer your question, no, that doesn't prove anything because the question we got to ask here is there any point in the embryonic development where first bones come over here, first bones are formed, and then the muscles are formed later on? Does it ever happen like the Quran states?
The Quranic position.
It does happen like the Quran states. And the reference which you're quoting, I did study what you're saying. I think it says, boy, it's like the primordia of like the starts forming simultaneously or something like that. Again, it gets very complicated.
I think we should just wrap it up because
let's wrap it up, guys.
Yeah, you guys have gone back and forth a lot now on those different points, and I just want to say thank you to both of you. I highly encourage everyone to look at both sides. Do your research, look it up online. If you know an embryologist, you can talk to them. Also check out the other Muslim perspectives. Like I said, Hamza Sortis, understanding Quran and science and why he thinks this is not a good argument. Thank you both, guys. Maybe we'll do another one in the future, maybe not. We'll see how that goes. Okay, everyone, thanks for joining in.